beautiful December morning. We spread about 100 tons of lime yesterday, so that was day one with the new truck. So we're going to switch to potash. Really, there's only a few differences from fertilizer to lime. We obviously only have a single bin, so we have to close the gate opening. For lime, we run a 10-inch gate opening, and for fertilizer, it's 2-inch. And then we have to, which I already did, install this divider and then this hillside divider here, so the fertilizer just flows down through there, where the lime basically just dumps off the belt and onto the spinners. And then we have to move the spinners forward so that the fertilizer kind of hits them in the center. So I made this piece of square stock metal, and the door will go down and touch it, and then that is the 2-inch mark. So use the crank here, lowers the door down to 2 inches till it touches that piece of metal, and we know it's 2 inches. All right, so we got the door down there at 2 inches, touching our block. Better get that out of there before I forget. That would really cause a big issue. Put this handy dandy tool back in the toolbox, and then the last thing to do is to move this spinner frame forward, so you can kind of see where the fertilizer is going to come out, and then these bolts here are the center, so we want to move that to the center. We have a little guide here, and I believe on the old truck it was around 3.5 inches. So we just use this crank here and get it to 3.5, and that looks pretty centered, so we'll go with that. Now you can test your spread pattern, and if you read in the book, it'll tell you if you're too heavy on the outsides, move the spinners back or forward, and vice versa. So that kind of affects your spread pattern, where those spinners are positioned. So that's really it for physical changes on the truck. We'll get inside, and we have to change some settings on the computer. It's a little bit different that we have the new leader controller versus the Deere controller, but it's pretty much overall the same. First thing we're going to do is on our Deere side, we'll call it the mapping side, we are going to change our name from lime to potash, and then we'll change our prescription from lime to potash. It's a big field, so it takes a little bit, and we have to change this out of zone rate. We do not want to do 1,000 pounds per acre. We'll do 200, and that's what the map looks like. It's red and that stuff because I got to fine tune the legend from lime. Lime, you're doing anywhere from 2,000 pounds to the acre to 4,000 pounds to the acre, and fertilizer or potash, we're going to do, probably the most we're going to do in this field is maybe 250 pounds per acre. So I put the second display up top. It just seemed better, more out of the way than down here, especially because I got these sweet foot pegs now, and the monitor would have been about right there, so I would have been kicking it with my foot. So that's up there, but you can also just hit this button here and it transfers from that screen. So now what was down here is now up there. Then we got the new leader page, so we go into this page here, and we are going to change our spinner speed back up to, I might have to double check and verify that, but I want to say I was at 750 on the other one. I have the books, so I'm going to have to verify that. And then change our spread pass to 80 feet instead of 60. And that, I believe, oh yes, we have to update our track spacing. Oh yes, and then tell it that we are doing a 2-inch gate opening instead of a 10-inch. And I think overall that is about the only thing we have to do. Very important also, we have to change this CFR number that we talked about 2 days ago in our calibrations. So we are going to do 2075 instead of 2242. So we are going to change that to 0.2075. That's the CFR number we came up with from before. I do like this page in the new leader side. You have your gauges that shows you your hydraulic pressure, conveyor pressure, and your overall hydraulic temperature. So that's kind of nice. What I'm doing right now is literally just sitting here with the spinners running, trying to get the oil warmed up before we actually start spreading. Okay, we are back under the conveyor, and actually had the conveyor running for a while now, so we're just going to rub that up and get some potash in the truck. It sure doesn't take long with this conveyor to get a truckload, so that's probably good. Go close the door and get the spread. The lime yesterday was some of the nicest lime I've spread in a long time. I mean, we just got a tiny little bit of buildup right there. Normally we have wet lime and this whole thing is caked on with lime, and you got to scrape it off and clean the spinners. But really happy with how the lime was yesterday, especially for this late in the year. I was just reminded of how quickly time goes because well, it wasn't quite a year ago, but when I started this channel I was doing this same thing. Started when we started spreading potash. That was in early April this past spring. We will get an early start on potash if we have the weather. Last year at this time, right before Christmas, we had some snow on the ground, and then we had a blizzard right at Christmas. We got about 2 feet of snow, so that basically put an end to all field work. But man, this December has been really nice, so it's nice to get a jump. You're not so pressured in the spring to have some of the work done. All right, just gonna hop out here real quick. We made a couple of passes and gonna check the spread pattern. I doubt you guys are gonna be able to see the potash on the ground. It's only a couple 100 pounds per acre, but so you can kind of see right over here was a pass and right over here was a pass. So I'm just gonna walk down the middle and make sure we're getting to the middle, and we'll be good to go. All right, everything looked really good there. Go back to the other end because this end has the road running on an angle, so call it point rows, whatever you want to call it. It's hard to see. You get a lot of overlap. Try and wipe my boots. Slightly muddy, and want to get my new cab all muddy. But you get a lot of overlap because that's an angled row there on the end. So we'll go back to the other end and check our overlap or gap coming out of our headlands. So that'll be the last thing to check. All right, gonna hop out here at this end here and see what kind of gap and overlap we have for our section control turn on, turn off, and then after that we should be good to go. We're pretty good on the turn off time. There's a little bit of gap when I'm going into the pass, which I have that turned down or up or whatever you want to call it as far as it'll go. The only other thing I can do is either go into the pass slower, or there's a measurement in here I can change a little bit, so we'll try and fine tune that. That is the last of the potash from the first truck. The computer says that we have spread 48,000 pounds. I don't know exactly how much was on that truck. I don't have the scale ticket from it, but normally they're around 50,000, so we should be just about right on the money with our calibration. I'll go over just a couple of the differences between this truck and the old truck. Really, there's only two main differences. The handle, this is the same handle as what we have in the S780 Combine, and what's in like the new sprayers. So it's very much different than what was in the old truck. It's a lot nicer because you have all these programmable buttons on there, so you don't have to ever take your hand off of it, so that's kind of nice. And then it has the new leader, which I've talked about, brake controller instead of the Deere. So not a ton of stuff that you have to look at, which is why it's up there. Most of what I look at is down here, which is the map, and well, that's supposed to be a camera, but it's completely covered in potash dust, and some spreader functions here too, so they kind of mirrors what you have up there. And our low bin alarm just went off, and I'm gonna try and get it as close as I can to empty without completely running out, so we can make sure that our calibration is correct. Close enough. I had the two displays in the other truck as well. Mostly I had this one laid out almost exactly the same, and then this one up here would have been a more zoomed out version of my map, just like what you see right there. With the programmable buttons on here, I can literally just hit that. I have it programmed where I can hit the button and toggle between two map pages, so that is a really nice feature. So we got to the end here and stopped. Actually, I can just do this and put this down here and move my phone out of the way. Still learning this. I think we hit that, yep, with this. And then I reset this one this morning. So it says we spread 48,500 pounds. Without having the scale ticket to confirm that, it's pretty close. Like I said, usually they're right around 50,000, maybe a touch less. So that would put us real close. So that's 24.25 tons. So close enough for now. So we got that truck empty, and we moved the conveyor over here, and gonna load up. Probably only need one spreader truck load out of that truck to get this farm done, and then we're gonna call it a weekend. Well, we made it home, back in the barn, so we're going to take the weekend off, and we'll start spreading again Monday. So that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.